Previously on Wizards of Waverly Place, you compete with your siblings eventually. I'm never going to learn any of these characters' names. And Harper's a little weird. Twink says, I know this is hard to believe, but I've never kissed a girl. Harper sexually harasses Selena Gomez's twin brother. So in this lesson, he tells them in the wizard world, they take everything you say literally. Which, spoiler alert, is going to be the problem in the episode. Remember, back in episode 9, when they learned everything in the magical world takes you literally. So make sure that you hire a lawyer who specializes in genies' wishes and curses. So this raises some questions, again, about the statute of secrecy, which we've already brought up. I don't get it. I don't get what the rules are. Somebody needs to explain it to me because I just don't understand. It's become apparent at this point that Disney has been making him work out in an effort to objectify him.
In episode 8, Harper wants Selena Gomez to go with her to what's called Pop Culture Convention, or PopCon for short. It's basically Comic-Con, but not trademarked. So this was clearly before Disney bought Marvel, because you know that if they had owned Marvel at the time, they would have gone all in on the Marvel characters. But they come up with their own fictional superheroes like D-Battery Man, Supersonica, Chico Loco, Pajama Girl, Calico Girl, Battle Diva, and the Destroyinator. Those are the characters that Selena Gomez and her family end up going as in this PopCon. But so Harper is begging Selena Gomez, please go with me for my birthday, because it's on her birthday. And Selena Gomez is just being an asshole. Like, she thinks that this is a whole bunch of losers and nerds going to this. So she absolutely refuses to go with her best friend to the one place her best friend wants to go on her birthday. Like, what an asshole. But then she and her family end up going into their lair. And there is an emergency wizard alert. And the authorities come into their lair to say, basically, apparently they have conscription in the wizarding world, and they have been recruited to go to PopCon to monitor the situation and make sure that no wizards get out of hand. Because apparently it's common at PopCon for wizards to go and feel like they blend in and then get a little bit out of control. So they get conscripted for this. And Selena Gomez then is forced to go against her will. And she comes down into the lair in her pajamas to hear what's going on, because there's an alarm that happens when it's like, wizard alert, wizard alert, wizard alert. So I've asked this before, but it's still not clear. Is there an international statute of secrecy? Because apparently there's some emergency when potentially at some point soon there could be wizards giving up that there's wizarding. Also in this episode, Selena Gomez's twink brother and little brother and the wizard authorities mentioned that there's a violation if you reveal to Harper that they're wizards. Harper, still, we are a full season plus 8 episodes in, and Harper still doesn't know that they're wizards. But apparently it's against the law to tell Harper that they're wizards. But it's never been clear before now, and they definitely have shirked all of their obligations under this law up until now, apparently, because Selena Gomez does magic around muggles all the time. She has to go, and she goes dressed as Pajama Girl. And Harper ends up seeing her there. And she's like, you're here? Why are you here? You told me that you weren't going to come. Did you lie to me and tell me that you didn't want to come with me, but then you came with other people? So she gets really offended. I feel like the easy way out for Selena Gomez, and Selena Gomez is an expert at lying. She lies all the time. She could have just said, well, my family forced me to go against my will. That would have been enough, but she comes up with stupid lies. And basically, eventually, she ends up sort of accidentally giving a magical costume to Harper. And the magical costume is the Battle Diva costume. And Battle Diva has superpowers, which include flying and making people say the same sentence twice. But Harper gets this costume, and it's like, uh-oh, she's gonna find out that magic exists. Also in this episode, so Selena Gomez's twink brother has always been set up as a twink. He is a nerd also. He's unpopular. Girls typically don't like him. Well, in this episode, Disney decided to do what I'm going to call the de-twinkification, where I mentioned several episodes ago that Disney has been forcing him to work out, and you can tell. Well, at this point, they put him in sort of a revealing costume. It's like a vest with no sleeves, and then he's wearing like tights with like tight underpants on top of the tights. They have decided that this is the time to objectify Selena Gomez's twink brother, and from this point on, they do that. He starts wearing sleeveless shirts. He starts wearing V-necks starting in this episode. So they've decided to switch how they portray him, because apparently they have determined that maybe we can get teenage girls to have a crush on Selena Gomez's twink brother. He's still a twink. He hasn't reached twunk level yet, but they are starting the de-twinkification. Selena Gomez goes to her twink brother and tries to get him to help her to prevent Harper from finding out about magic. And he's like, well, why should I help you with that? That's your problem. You created this problem. You get to fix it. So she ends up manipulating him by telling him that Harper has been telling everybody that she and Selena Gomez's twink brother are engaged, which Selena Gomez's twink brother believes because it's believable. That is definitely the type of thing that Harper would say, because she is inappropriate towards Selena Gomez's twink brother, and she is always trying to pretend that they have a relationship and act like he might have feelings back for her, even though he's made it very clear that her advances are unwelcome. Basically, the episode ends with Selena Gomez telling Harper illegally about being a wizard, and she takes her to space to demonstrate, hey, I can prove that I'm a wizard. I can send you to space. So the title of the episode is Harper Knows. So now by the end of the episode, Harper now knows.
In episode 9, Selena Gomez and her family are planning to go out to a family dinner. Well, they call a cab. And it comes out that Selena Gomez was actually born in a cab. And there's a specific cab. They even remember the number of the cab. I think it's like 704 or something. I don't know. But they request this specific cab anytime they have to go somewhere in a cab. Well, it turns out that this cab has been retired and is about to be sent to the junkyard. And they are all traumatized by this because, oh no, Selena Gomez was born in this cab. So then this causes Selena Gomez's twin brother to ask, hey, where was I born? Tell me the story of that. And her parents are just like, well, you were born in the hospital. It's like, do you remember the room number? Like, no. Nobody cares where Selena Gomez's twin brother was born, but they remember specifically the cab number and everything. But Selena Gomez decides that she's going to go and fix the whole cab situation. Harper's there for this whole conversation, and everybody's like crying because the cab's going to get destroyed. And she has this quote. She says, there's a whole lot of crying going on. Add some door slams and it's my house. So this is a recurring thing in this series, that Harper apparently has a terrible home life where her parents are just awful and there's crying and slamming doors. Yeah, I guess that explains why she's always hanging around with Selena Gomez and her family, but this is sad. But Selena Gomez and Harper go to the cab company to talk to them and say, hey, can we have a souvenir at least? And the people at the cab company are really sympathetic. They're like, oh yeah, you're that girl who was born in cab number, whatever the number is. Yeah, we'll get you a souvenir. And they give her like the scented pine tree. It's like, that is completely unsatisfactory. That is not a good keepsake. They could have at least given her like the steering wheel or something. But she decides, you know what, I'm not satisfied with this souvenir. I'm going to fix the car with magic. So we've learned previously in lessons that magic always takes you literally. She says that she wants to bring it alive with this spell. She should know better by now. We've gone through this multiple times throughout the series. Anytime you say something, it is going to be taken literally by magic. And lo and behold, the car becomes alive. And we learned previously in an episode where she turned a mannequin into her boyfriend that when you bring inanimate objects to life, they grow an emotional attachment to you. This is Selena Gomez not remembering lessons that she should have learned through previous traumatic experiences. But she never faces any consequences, so she never learns any lessons. But basically, the car becomes a talking car. And it follows her around and is really emotionally attached to her and won't seem to understand that you should shut up. Muggles are not supposed to know that you are a magical talking car. But that ends up going on for most of the episode. And then, so once Harper finds out that the car is alive and talking, she does this thing where she's like, I don't know how to respond. I don't know whether to be angry or scared. So I'm just going to faint. Catch me, twink. And she like faints and expects him to catch her. And he just like steps out of the way, clearly indicating, no, I do not welcome your advances, Harper. Stop sexually harassing me. But everybody else like laughs it off, and the car makes some comment like, oh, I was expecting the twink to catch her. But yeah. So basically this all ends up having no consequences for Selena Gomez again, because she makes terrible choices and nothing ever goes wrong for her. She talks to her parents about the situation, and she's like, well, I guess I've learned an important lesson today. And they don't punish her at all. They're just like, yeah, you've learned your lesson. I see that you have grown a sense of maturity. And Selena Gomez's twink brother is pissed off about this because she never faces consequences. And Harper also is perplexed by this. Like, isn't she going to get punished? And Selena Gomez's brother is like, nope, she never gets punished. She always gets rewarded for misbehavior. But yeah, didn't learn any lessons. Doesn't get punished at all. You think this is going to happen again? Probably. In episode 10, Selena Gomez's dad makes some unartful comments about Selena Gomez's mom. Basically, he says that he made some major sacrifices to marry her, and that it was a tough decision, things like that. So she's mad at him because he definitely should have known better than to say those sorts of things. But Selena Gomez devises this plot to make her mom no longer mad at her dad. So she calls on Cupid to come and help her mom fall in love with her dad again. Uh, so Cupid comes along, and it's a baby that talks, and it has a bow and arrow. Um, well, she has to get Cupid to shoot her mom in the butt with an arrow. Um, and I guess Selena Gomez's little brother like accidentally breaks the arrow, and the baby only has one arrow, and the baby refuses to go anywhere until he successfully completes the mission of shooting Selena Gomez's mom with the arrow. So she's stuck with this baby until they can figure out a solution to this problem. So she ends up pretending at first that it's a baby doll, and that she's doing it for her marriage and family class or whatever they call it. I guess her mom is gullible enough to believe that, at least temporarily. So she has to convince her mom that she's actually in this class. And so the mom's like, "Oh yeah, I want to go to the parent-teacher conference for that class because I have some things to bring up about marriage and family." So it's a whole ruse where she's trying to trick the mom. And meanwhile, Harper continues her unwelcome advances towards Selena Gomez's twink brother. She makes him a sweater out of her own hair. So she like knits this sweater using her own hair and gives it to him, expecting that he will love this gift. And he's obviously creeped out by it. Well, Cupid ends up shooting him with the arrow. So he ends up falling in love with Harper temporarily, which is very weird. And their parents make comments like, "Why is he acting like he's in love with Harper? And how weird is it that he is into Harper right now?" Which, I mean, is obviously a signal they know that Harper constantly sexually harasses their son, and they do absolutely nothing about it. But he ends up like being in a relationship with Harper for most of the episode. It turns out in the end that the spell wears off after a while, so it ends up all wearing off and everything's okay. But I feel like this has revealed some problems in all of their relationships here and in their parenting. But eventually, what happens is Cupid ends up shooting some random person at the BMV with the arrow, and this old woman ends up falling in love with Selena Gomez's dad, and Selena Gomez's mom gets jealous, and so then she decides, "Oh, I forgive you, I love you, and everything." Because apparently jealousy is just as good as Cupid's arrow, or even better. But Cupid still won't leave until Selena Gomez's mom gets shot with the arrow, so they end up doing that intentionally. And the end. Nobody learned any lessons, as usual. They had some serious family problems, and I guess we've learned the lesson here. Be careful what you wish for, Selena Gomez, because it may end up giving you a Cupid who will not leave until he shoots somebody with an arrow.